The conflict between Ukraine and Russia continues with ongoing clashes. Ukrainian FPV drone operators have initiated attacks by making the first strike on one of the moving enemy vehicles. Two advancing Russian armored vehicles were detected by Ukrainian drone teams. The operators wasted no time and immediately went on the offensive. As you can see, a series of kamikaze attacks were launched against the enemy's armored vehicles. With each strike, the Ukrainian drone operators are hitting their targets, destroying the enemy armored vehicles in the Toretsk region. The FPV kamikaze drones glided toward their targets like predators. With consecutive hits, the enemy armored vehicles were rendered useless. But the incident wasn't over yet. As you can see, Russian soldiers who managed to escape their vehicles tried to hide in a nearby wooded area. However, Ukraine's precise drones located and neutralized the fleeing soldiers one by one. In this way, the enemy's assault attempt was concluded with a tactical success. Ukrainian FPV reconnaissance drones have spotted another group of Russian soldiers. The enemy soldiers were advancing toward a forest, apparently as a hiding place. However, Ukrainian soldiers immediately launched a munition, and with this direct strike on the wooded area, the enemy soldiers were neutralized. Ukrainian FPV drone operators have detected a moving enemy BTR-70 armored vehicle. The Russian soldiers intended to use this armored personnel carrier to rapidly advance on Ukrainian positions, but faced an unexpected outcome. The first drone took off and quickly struck the enemy vehicle, making the initial hit. This stopped the enemy vehicle, but the operation wasn't over. The Ukrainian soldiers immediately used a second drone to target the vehicle. Even though the vehicle was already destroyed, the second hit was crucial, as the goal was to make the enemy vehicle completely unusable. As you can see, the second hit was also successful, and the Ukrainian soldiers once again achieved a victory and asserted their dominance. In this event, as you'll see, it wasn't FPV drones, but rather Ukrainian artillery that came into play. After Ukrainian reconnaissance drones spotted the enemy soldiers, the Ukrainian troops began a swift artillery strike, neutralizing the enemy soldiers near the wooded area. However, the operation didn't stop there. Some of the enemy soldiers tried to hide in nearby ruins, believing they could escape, but Ukrainian FPVs had already detected them. The Ukrainian artillery unit immediately began its strikes, dealing blows to the enemy. Now we will analyze another remarkable operation conducted by Ukraine's FPV drone units on the front line. A moving Russian assault group attempted to take up a position among the ruins in the area, but Ukrainian drone teams responded instantly. The first target was a ruined structure where the enemy soldiers were seeking shelter. A precision strike Ukrainian FPV drone, maneuvered with a sharp turn, demolished the building and neutralized the group inside. Right after this, Ukrainian drones heading to a second ruin in the same area spotted enemy motorcycles. The attack, which was carried out in a short time, resulted in the complete destruction of these Russian vehicles. With consecutive pinpoint strikes, the hidden supplies were also destroyed. Subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on the latest developments. Don't forget to turn on notifications and like this video to support us. A convoy of 7 Russian armored vehicles in the Zaporizhia region has caught the attention of Ukrainian FPV reconnaissance drones. This reveals the scale of the intense conflict on the front line. Ukraine's 118th Separate Mechanized Brigade immediately began an attack on the Russian armored vehicles, attempting to advance near Molotokmachka. Even though this mechanized assault tried to advance with heavy weapon support, it was met with the readiness of the Ukrainian soldiers. Kamikaze drones were directed at the Russian armored vehicles in a rapid succession. Each Ukrainian drone made an instant, impactful strike. As you can see, in this intense and brief engagement, several Russian vehicles were destroyed. However, the other armored vehicles were still moving and trying to escape with evasive maneuvers. But it was no use. At the same time, 5 more enemy Russian combat vehicles were destroyed. The FPV drones swiftly swooped in, giving the enemy vehicles no chance. And just like that, this enemy convoy was also destroyed, with the armored vehicles stopped and rendered unusable. Approximately 20 Russian soldiers who were trying to use the terrain for an advantage were also neutralized. With this attack, the defensive lines in the region were reinforced, and the enemy's attempts to create a breakthrough on the front were thwarted. This recent development also shows that the war is increasingly based on technology and tactics. The determination and resolve of the Ukrainian army and its counteroffensives are rendering Russia's efforts to advance in this area futile. Now we'll analyze the drone footage from the Lyman direction. The effective FPV drone operations conducted by Ukraine's 63rd Brigade are destroying a lot of the equipment the enemy has deployed during the intense activity on the front line. Using FPV drones, Ukrainian operators first targeted and destroyed 2 cannons and 3 mortars belonging to the Russian army. This significantly weakened the fire support of the Russian forces. However, the operation didn't stop there. Following this, a Russian truck, an SUV-type military vehicle, and a motorcycle hidden in a trench were located and destroyed by a Ukrainian kamikaze drone. Additionally, electronic warfare equipment and generators were also destroyed within seconds. This recent development has shifted the tactical balance on the ground in favor of Ukraine. This military event on the front line highlights the effective intervention of Ukrainian artillery units. Reconnaissance elements in the area quickly detected several moving groups of Russian soldiers. Immediately after the targets were identified, the artillery batteries received the coordinates and began firing. The first Russian assault group was neutralized almost as soon as it was detected. With sudden and precise hits, the enemy's attempt to advance was stopped before it could even begin. As you can see, a few more enemy soldiers began to move in the wooded area, in the open, and around the ruins, but Ukrainian artillery prevented their movement with a series of rapid strikes. With these consecutive hits, the Russian soldiers' attack plans in the area were completely shattered. The event wasn't over, as movement was also detected in the ruined houses. This shows how carefully Ukrainian reconnaissance drones are used in the area. The ruins were also targeted and destroyed. In this military event, Ukrainian soldiers dealt a major blow to the enemy Russian assault groups, gaining dominance and achieving a tactical victory in the region. Another critical incident in the Lyman region was the destruction of a Russian tank by FPV drone operators of Ukraine's 63rd Brigade. A Russian tank, which was detected on patrol on the front line, was quickly targeted by unmanned aerial vehicles. The Ukrainian kamikaze drones immediately went on the offensive and made the first strike. The first drone strike limited the tank's mobility. Following that, the second hit targeted the weak points of the armor. A third and final attack rendered the vehicle completely inoperable. In this way, another one of the heavy armored units that Russian forces were trying to use in the region was put out of action. The immediate transmission of reconnaissance images to the drone team allowed for the precise neutralization of the target. This recent development demonstrates how FPV drones are gaining a strategic advantage over traditional heavy vehicles like tanks in modern warfare. This time in the Toretsk region, Ukrainian soldiers detected Russian BM-21 Grad systems hiding in a wooded area. This was one of the enemy's most powerful pieces of equipment, and Ukrainian soldiers immediately used a HIMARS to make a strong strike and destroy the enemy's equipment.